亲爱的同学们，大家好！很高兴跟大家在课堂上相遇。Dear students, I'm really happy to see you in the class. 我希望大家身体都还好。I hope you're well. You're all well. 首先呢，我们来复习一下，我们上节课学了什么？同学们还记得吗？上节课我们学了什么？好，那现在我们学了现代主义诗歌 （Modernist Poetry），现代主义诗歌。好，那我们都讲了哪几位作家和哪些代表作呢 ？And then what about the famous writers and the representative works? Do you remember? 你们还记得吗？好，现在我给大家10分钟的时间来复习一下我们上节课学过的内容。Now I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to review what we have learned last class. 好，同学们都想起来了吗？好，那现在我要问大家几个问题。Now I'm gonna ask you several questions. 现代主义诗歌的代表人物都有谁呀？同学们想一想。The famous writers in modernist poetry. 好，第一个，何其芳。好，同学们请跟我读何其芳。何其芳，他的代表作是什么呢 ？Representative work， 代表作是什么呢？同学们说的很好，寓言。寓言。好，下一个，戴望舒。戴望舒。好，那戴望舒的代表作都有什么 ？Representative work， 代表作都有什么？同学们说的很好，雨巷。雨巷 ，A Lane in the Rain。好，下一个，卞之琳。卞之琳，他的代表作是什么呢？这已经显示了，代表作是什么 ？Representative work， 断章。断章，你们这个是你们作业里面应该已经读了的，对不对 ？Which you have already read in your assignment. About something about your assignments, I have to say, you please upload MP3 file because you upload so many different sorts of files, and some is AAC, some is 3PG, some is I don't know even what it is because I'm so sorry, I don't have the software to open all of the files. I cannot open most of your files. The voice file, it should be MP3 when you upload. I know if you record with your score, with your phone, because I have the recording pen, so all of them is default to be MP3. So I never really have these problems, but I can see most of you record with your phone, right? And the file you record with your phone is quite different. Some of them there is AAC, and I cannot open it. And as 3PG, I also cannot open it. Here is a suggestion. I think there is an additional function of the SAKAI platform. You can just record with the platform, and then after you record, I think it will upload your recording how to say automatically. It will record it will upload your record by itself. So I think you should try maybe you would try that additional function on the SAKAI platform, because I really cannot open most of the files you upload. I'm so sorry. About the pictures, I could say that will be fine. But the recording, I cannot listen to most of you. So this is the problem. Next time, if I ask you to do the recording, to do the record, you need to transform it to MP3 file. If you don't know how to, I think there's some software on the internet. They will do it for you. They can transform any files to MP3 file. So before that, would you please transform it to MP3 file so that I can listen to it? Because most of your files, I really cannot open them. I'm so sorry, and some of you might not have the score of this part because I cannot hear it. And also, I got several private messages in my WhatsApp. You already missed the due date, the deadline of the time you submit your assignments that will be finished. I don't accept the assignments in any form after the due date. I give you 1 week to do it. So the excuse is like, my phone is not good. My network is not good. There is something wrong about my data in my phone. I do not, it's unacceptable. I give you 1 week to do that. I think you have 1 week to solve all the problems. So after the due date, that will be, if you didn't do it, you won't get the score of this part. That will be all. Do not send me anything in WhatsApp about your assignment. You only need to do is your upload what I have asked for. Maybe a record, maybe some pictures, anything I asked for. You just upload it to the platform, and I will check it out. I will correct it on that platform. No other ways. So please do not send me private messages about this kind of thing. And so the record thing, I hope you can remember, and I hope you could figure it out, because I cannot figure it out. I don't know how to. Also, because I have the computer from China, so there is maybe a little something wrong with it cannot recognize most files from your phone, so it should be MP3 file. And it's also good because I have to keep all of your recordings together. I have to keep them for a long time. So if there's all sorts of files, and I have to sort it. I have to sort them into different documents, folders. So if there are all sorts of files, it will be quite confusing for me. So all of them should be MP3. The recording part, all of them should be MP3 file. I hope I make myself clear. Okay, but some of you, I did heard you have already read the part of article 断章 and 顾城一代人 one generation. I heard it's quite good. All of them, they are quite good pronunciations, and I'm really happy to hear it. And I hope after you read it, you really feel the beauty come from. You feel the beauty from the characters, you feel the beauty from the rhythms, you feel the beauty from the feelings, you feel the beauty from the emotions. I really hope you can feel it after you read it. 好，我们继续说。还有 another famous writer， 还有一个很著名的诗人，穆旦及九叶派。穆旦及九叶派 because there are 9 writers in this community, so they called 九叶派. And also the 9 famous writers, they wrote down a collection. They wrote a collection called 九叶集. It's a representative work. It's not one writer, 9 writers. So this 九叶集, 集 means collection. 九叶集, there are I think there are more than hundreds of works in this collection. So many works because there are works of 9 writers. 穆旦及九叶派 representative work 九叶集. 好，七月派的诗。七月派的诗 the July community. The July writers' creations are close to reality and the times, and they mostly reflect the social outlook and people's suffering during the anti-Japanese war. 七月派作家的创作贴近现实和时代，现实 reality 时代 the times， 多反映 reflect， 多反映抗战时期的社会面貌和人民疾苦。 七月派的诗。好，后面 another famous writer， 艾青，艾青 is an alien of course， 艾青 his works were called another peak of new poetry。 北方 is a representative work， 北方，北方。大堰河，大堰河 his work we said is another peak of new poetry， 新诗的又一个高峰，高峰 peak， 新诗的又一个高峰。 His work is so famous, his works so famous. Most of us will have to learn that when we were in high school. 北方，北方 there are two representative works. 大堰河，大堰河。好，我们继续看。Last class we introduced a quite unique type of modernist poetry. It's called misty poetry. 好，同学们请跟我读朦胧诗。朦胧诗，朦胧诗。It's called misty poetry. I've already told you in the last class. It's called misty poetry because they didn't say anything quite clear. They use metaphor, they use symbolism, they use images, they use imaginations, a lot of things that they are not so clear. A lot of things that to make the main point not so clear. 朦胧诗 so it's called misty poetry. 朦胧诗。好。It shows enlightening and modernist. 启蒙主义与现代主义。启蒙主义与现代主义。启蒙主义与现代主义。It's actually misty poetry is kind of too advanced at that time. Famous writers, 3 of them. 北岛， 舒婷，舒婷，顾城，顾城 ，he is the most talented. He is the most talented person in all of the modernist poets. All of the modernist writers, he is the one most with the most talent. You have already, if you did your homework, I'm sure you have already read his famous work, a poem with only one sentence. He's the only one can do it. One generation, 一代人. This is just one sentence, but it's famous for decades in China. Everyone knows this sentence. But I have also told you that because he's too talented and he's not so normal. He's not normal as human beings. He is suffering for mental illness for so many years, and he's a lunatic. He's a genius in poetry writing, but he's a lunatic in normal life. So, but his work, if you really read it, can you feel the emotions, the strong feelings from only one sentence? It's just one sentence, several characters, but the emotions, the feelings are quite strong. There are so many things he already applied in only one sentence. So this is what I think he's a genius in literature, in our modern contemporary literature. 好 Now there is a little difficult one. 朦胧诗的美学特质。朦胧诗的美学特质 The main point, the theme of the mystic poetry. 以个我与群类为出发与归宿的人本主义价值观。Humanistic values starting and ending with individual and group. 以个我与群类为出发与归宿的人本主义价值观。Humanistic values is quite important in their poetry. 以个我与群类为出发与归宿的人本主义价值观。Taking deep mythical thinking as a way to grasp the world. 以深度神话思维为把握世界的关照方式。They're trying to take the mythical thinking as a way to understand the world. 以深度神话思维为把握世界的关照方式。以深度神话思维为把握世界的关照方式。好 Tragic style with lofty as the dominant as aesthetic connotation. 以崇高为主导美学内涵的悲剧性风格。Most of the writers in mystic poetry, I've already told you, in mystic poetry they graduated from famous universities in Western countries. So that means they got a lot of ideas and conceptions from Western aesthetic. In Western aesthetic, they think a tragedy is the only thing can be called art. So their works also full of tragic styles. 以崇高为主导美学内涵的悲剧性风格，悲剧性风格 （tragic style）。以崇高为主导美学内涵的悲剧性风格。 以崇高为主导美学内涵的悲剧性风格。好 ，because they're not the main point in the misty poetry, and most of them they are not so clear. It's because they used metaphor and symbol discourse system. They use metaphor, they use symbol, so to let you confused with their real main point. 以隐喻象征隐喻 metaphor 象征 symbol 以隐喻象征为建构中心的话语系统。以隐喻象征为建构中心的话语系统。以隐喻象征为建构中心的话语系统。以泛现代迅速跨越后浪漫为创作手段。以泛现代迅速跨越后浪漫为创作手段。以泛现代迅速跨越后浪漫为创作手段。好的 ，last part， postmodern poetry， 后现代主义诗歌。好，同学们，请跟我读后现代主义诗歌 is the poetry after modernist poetry。后现代主义诗歌 postmodern poetry。后现代主义诗歌。好，第三代诗。Third generation poetry, 第三代诗 because as I've already told you, the third generation poetry is also called the post-misty poetry because they come from the misty poetry, so they always want to make a breakthrough there. So they're trying to against all of the conceptions, all of the ideas in misty poetries, something like 好，请跟我读反崇高。反崇高，反崇高，反文化，反文化，反文化，反意象，反意象，反意象。好，我们的复习就先到这里啊，同学们都说的非常好，我相信你们还记得啊，这个视频的内容，all of you did a great job. I believe that you remembered what we have learned the last class. Now we have to move on to the new class because we don't have so much time. 我们没有多少时间了啊，来，我们来看 ，we have already finished all the poetry part in the modern and contemporary literature. Now we move on to prose. Prose 散文。好，同学们请跟我读散文 prose P-R-O-S-E 啊，散文。1920到1930年代散文。1920到1930年代散文。So I have to I think I've told you the knowledge a long time ago. 如果我们提到中国现当代文学，我们首先想到的人是谁 ？It's an old question. 我们提到中国现当代文学，我们首先想到的人是谁？ When I mentioned Chinese modern and contemporary literature, the first name popped into your head. Who is he? Do you remember? 还记得吗？ The most important person in modern and contemporary literature. 还记得吗 ？Do you remember? 当我们提到中国现当代文学的时候，你想到的第一个人是谁？好，同学们都说得很好，我听到了啊。鲁迅，非常好。You still remembered him? 鲁迅 he's not just famous. He's not just famous in China. He's also has a good reputation in Western countries. They do a lot of researches about him, and they translated so many works of him, and I think they adore him. He's that famous, and he also make a great contribution in prose part in Chinese modern and contemporary literature. What's his real name? 鲁迅 is an alias. What is his real name? 他的真名叫什么？好，同学们还记得吗？鲁迅的本名叫什么？ It's flashing out. 好，他的本名叫周树人。周树人，本名周树人。Because later we have to introduce another one. When you saw the name, you will know what the relationship between them. 周树人，他是哪儿的人 ？Where is he born? 他是哪儿的人 ？Where was he born? 他是哪儿的人？好，同学们可能看到了 ，just flash。浙江绍兴人。鲁迅是浙江绍兴人。鲁迅是浙江绍兴人。He's famous under the alias 鲁迅。It's an alias, but he's quite famous under this name 鲁迅。His real name is 周树人。He was born in in 绍兴，浙江。他是浙江绍兴人。好 ，Do you remember the 3 titles of him？ 还记得吗？好，我给你们几分钟的时间来读一读啊，这几个 titles， 这几个头衔。I'm going to give you several minutes to read these titles, so that you can recall. 好，同学们想起来了吗？ He is one of the leaders of the new culture movement， 新文化运动领袖之一。新文化运动领袖之一。新文化运动领袖之一。 He is the founder of modern Chinese literature. 他是中国现代文学奠基人。他是中国现代文学奠基人。他是中国现代文学奠基人。He's also a master of modern Chinese literature. 他是中国现代文学开山巨匠。他是中国现代文学开山巨匠。他是中国现代文学开山巨匠。好，同学们都说得很好。现在请大家回忆一下鲁迅的代表作，散文的代表作 ，representative works in prose， 散文代表作。Because when I asked you to remember, you remember the novel, the representative work from novels, the representative works from poems, the representative works from prose. Now I only need that part, representative works from prose, in prose. 它的散文代表作都有哪些？记得吗？好，同学们都说得很好。朝花夕拾，朝花夕拾。Another one， 野草。野草。好，同学们都说得很好，大家应该还记得。I hope, I believe you remembered. I hope you remembered. 希望你还记得啊。朝花夕拾，野草。好 ，and then we'll have to now in this class we'll have to introduce you some new writers. 鲁迅的，好，请跟我读这个名字啊，周作人。周作人。所以现在我要问大家，鲁迅的本名叫什么？鲁迅的本名叫什么 ？What is 鲁迅 's real name? Can you remember? We just reviewed several minutes ago. Several seconds ago. 鲁迅的本名叫什么？很好，同学们说的很好啊。鲁迅的本名叫周树人。鲁迅 's real name is 周树人。And you see that name. 你现在看 ，you see this name. 你看这个名字，周作人。Can you guess what relationship between them? What actual relationship between them? Can you guess? This is another one. It's another writer. Yes, I think you are right. 我觉得你们已经猜到了。I think you guess it right. 周作人 this writer I'm going to introduce is younger brother of 鲁迅 is younger brother of 周树人 which is 鲁迅 He's younger brother of 鲁迅，所以他的名字叫周作人。His representative work. 好，同学们请跟我读自己的园地 His representative work in prose 散文代表作自己的园地自己的园地 because he is, even though he is younger brother of Lu Xun, but he's not as famous as Lu Xun is. So most of his works that don't have English version. No one will translate his work because it's not famous. But it's not famous as his older brother. But his elder brother. But he's also did a great contribution to modern and contemporary literature in China, especially in prose part. He did a great job. His work is also quite good, but he's just not as famous as Lu Xun. So that's the reason we don't know so much about his work. But he's really good. 自己的园地。Next one， 雨天的书。好，同学们请跟我读雨天的书。雨天的书。So this famous writer， 所以这个著名的作家 ，his name 周作人 ，this is his real name， 周作人。He is younger brother of 鲁迅 ，and his representative work 散文代表作《自己的园地》《雨天的书》。好，我给大家几分钟的时间来记一下这点内容。Now I'm gonna give you several minutes to remember this. 好，我们继续看啊。所以请大家记住，周作人 is not as famous as Lu Xun is, but he's still really good at his job. Really good writers. He's really good writer. He is 鲁迅 's younger brother. 是鲁迅的弟弟啊，堂弟。好 ，another writer. famous writer。好，同学们请跟我的 it has nothing to do with 鲁迅 and 周作人 ，is another one。好，同学们请跟我读郁达夫。郁达夫 Here I introduced you all of them. Most of the names are alias. In that time, is not so popular that they use their real name to publish their works on newspaper, publish their books. It's not so good to use their real name at that time. So most of the names they are not their real name. 郁达夫 So this is also it's not his real name. But if you have to remember their real names, I think just quite important, several important writers like Lu Xun, because if I have to tell you all the real name of them, that will be difficult for you to remember. You will mix them together in your head. 郁达夫 is another famous writer about the modern prose. 郁达夫 his great work. 故都的秋 this is so famous. We have to learn it when we were in second school. In second school or in high school, I cannot remember right exactly, but I think we have to learn that when we were in middle school. In secondary school or maybe in high school, but it's in middle school, I'm pretty sure. It has to be in middle school. 故都的秋 and we have to recite it. It's long prose, we have to recite it because it's beautiful written and it's quite famous. 故都的秋 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 It doesn't have a translation in English, I think, but a direct translation is the autumn in my hometown. 故都 hometown 秋天 autumn, the autumn in my hometown. It should be like that way. 好 ，next one 下一个啊，好，同学们请跟我读钓台的春昼。钓台的春昼。钓台 is also a place. 钓台的春昼，春spring 昼 daylight the daytime 春昼 daytime in the spring 春昼。钓台的春昼。好，同学们，我们再读一遍啊。Famous writer 啊，这位有名的作家郁达夫 ，his prose representative work 散文代表作。故都的秋 ，this is the most famous one。故都的秋是最有名的一个啊，所有的学生都要学。All the students in middle school have to learn that。故都的秋 in China， 故都的秋。Next one 好，下一个钓台的春昼。钓台的春昼。好，我给大家几分钟的时间来读一读，这一篇内容。Now I'm gonna give you several minutes to read these things. 好，同学们都读得很好，我们再来看 next writer 啊，下一个。好，is technically a literature community 开明派。They have more than 10 writers in this community. 开明派 is called 开明派。好，同学们，请跟我读开明派。开明派，开明派。Because there are so many writers in 开明派, I only give you 3 of them. They are most famous writers in all of them, among all of them. 好，第一个人啊，夏勉尊。夏勉尊。夏勉尊。Next one 啊，下一个叶圣陶。He is not a famous writer. He is also a quite famous educator in China. In Chinese modern contemporary literature, dozens of famous writers are students of 叶圣陶. He is a famous educator. He contributed plenty of educational theories in China, and they are still quite useful even in these days. He's a great writer, a great educator, and a great teacher. 叶圣陶。叶圣陶。Next one 啊，好，同学们请跟我读丰子恺。丰子恺 ，and he's also several interesting things about him. He's not just a famous writer; he's a famous painter. And compared to his writing work, his painting are much more valuable actually. His paintings are really expensive. He's a talented painter, but he's also a famous writer in 开明派. His work, his pictures, his paintings, are quite cute. Forgive me to use these words because I don't have this high, how to say, the ability of appreciation of the art, but his paintings to me is just really cute. It's like all the people in his paintings are around, are really cute, like kids or something. It's really cute. I think it's not technically painting. I think they are more like comic paintings, cartoons, something like that. So I think it's cute. But his paintings are very quite expensive and quite valuable. His paintings have a great collection value. So these are 3 writers in 开明派。好，同学们，我们再来复习一下啊。好，同学们，请跟我读开明派。开明派。开明派 representative writers 夏勉尊。夏勉尊。夏勉尊。叶圣陶。叶圣陶。 叶圣陶 who is also a famous educator and a famous teacher. 丰子恺 who is also a great painter. 好，我给大家几分钟的时间来记住这几个人。Now I'm gonna give you some ways to remember these persons.好，同学们，我们继续看啊。好，下一个。I think the order is not right. 好，下一个白马湖派。好，同学们，请跟我读白马湖派。It's also a community. 白马湖派。There are so many writers in this community, so I'm gonna just give you one or two of them, two of the representative writers in 白马湖派。白马湖派。Why is called 白马湖派? Because there is the writers in this community, most of them, they are colleagues in a middle school called 白马湖 Middle School. they used to teach. Yes, they used to teach middle school students, and but they are it's okay, but that has nothing to do with their talent. They used to teach. They used to work together in 白马湖 Middle School. So they called, and then they created the community called. They created the community to write some works, to write some papers, to write some novels, to write some prose, and so they named this community 白马湖 because they used to teach together, they used to work together in 白马湖 Middle School. So they used the middle school's name of their community's name, 白马湖派. The famous writer 朱自清. He is really famous for his prose. And the most famous prose is called 背影. It's his representative work, 背影. We have to learn it when we were in primary school, I think. Yes, when we were in primary school, we have to learn all of them. The 背影, we have to learn this in primary school. All the primary school students in China, they have to learn 背影. It's a really good one. The characters are not so many, but the emotions are quite strong. The words are not so complicated, but the strength is very strong. So this is how Zhu Ziqing how it works in Zhu Ziqing's prose. His son is another famous alumni in my mother university, Nankai University. His son is, because the most famous alumni in my university is the first prime minister in China, Prime Minister Zhou Enlai, and I think his son is another, Zhu Ziqing's son is another famous alumni. But ironically, he's not a writer. Zhu Ziqing is one of the most famous writers in China, but his son is majored in computer technology. It's hard to understand, but he's also one of my. His son also graduated from my university, and after he graduated, his son got to be a professor in the Department of Computer Technology. And now he's died a long time ago, but a long time ago before I got registered into the Nankai University, but I still remember that part. So his son is just to look like him. Fight. It's a little short man. Really cute. Next one. 俞平伯. Yu Pingbo, his representative work, 燕之草. 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 好，我再来读一遍啊，同学们请跟我读。白马湖派。白马湖派。好 ，representative writers， 朱自清。朱自清 representative work 背影 this prose describe his father 背影 next one 俞平伯俞平伯 his representative work 燕之草燕之草。好，给大家几分钟的时间来，记住这些人和这些和他的代表作。Now I'm going to give you several minutes to remember those people and their representative works. 好，同学们，我们继续往下看。Another famous writer。好，同学们，请跟我读：林语堂，林语堂，林语堂，林语堂。Now you know how famous he is. All his works got the English version translation. All his works got English versions. That means he's so famous in Western country. It's also quite famous in China. But I think because he's not just a famous writer in China, but he's also a famous translator in China. So I think he translated plenty of famous works of Western writers like Shakespeare. I think he's part of Shakespeare, and also some other writers. Mark Twain. I think it's several of them, and his work, because he has a good language ability. He can speak more than 4 languages, I think. So he has he communicate. He has how to say. He has the constant communication with Western writers at that time, so they translated some. He translated some famous works from Western writers, and they also translate some of his works, like these two: prose representative. He also wrote novels, but this part will only introduce you prose representative work. The first one, 吴国与无民, My Country and My People, 吴国与无民. All his works, these 2 works, at least, they have English versions. 吴国与无民. "吴国与无民." 吴 is we don't use that word. It means I. It means I. In this situation, it means mine. But it only the word only used in ancient Chinese language. Only in ancient Chinese. We don't use it anymore. 吴国与无民. My country and my people. Another one. 生活的艺术. Because there are plenty of versions of the translation of this book. 生活的艺术 means art. To me, it should be the art of living. But because the translation that already there is the importance of living. The famous translators, they did that way. So I think I should follow them. I should follow their steps. The importance of living. To me, it should be the art of living. But it doesn't matter because I don't think you got a chance to read it. 好，同学们再跟我读林语堂。林语堂 representative work 吴国与无民。吴国与无民。Another one 啊，另外一个生活的艺术。生活的艺术。林语堂，好，再读一遍啊，林语堂。林语堂。吴国与无民 representative work 代表作。吴国与无民。生活的艺术。 生活的艺术。好 ，I'm gonna give you several minutes to remember this。好，给大家几分钟的时间来记一记这些啊。好，同学，我们继续看啊。Another famous writer。好，同学们，请跟我读梁实秋。So in this class, there will be plenty of names and plenty of representative works. 梁实秋。梁实秋 representative work。好，同学们，请跟我读雅舍小品。雅舍小品。If you noticed some of them they have English translation, they have English version. Some of them they don't have. It's not because I don't want to give you the English part. It's because they don't have one. It's not all of them as famous as 鲁迅, as 林语堂 in the Western countries, so they don't got translations of their works. They don't have English versions of their work. It doesn't mean I don't want to give you one. Of course, I want to give you all of the English versions of them. But the truth is they don't have one. I cannot just make up some translations to it. I think it's irrespective to the writers and to the representative works. So you just, if they don't have English versions, you just remember the Chinese version. You have to remember the Chinese versions. I'm sorry, but it's kind of, we don't have another way to do that. Maybe later the Western countries, literature research, they have much more interested in our literature, and they will translate all of them. But I think it's at least 200 years later. So now they don't have most of them. You can see most of the works, Chinese writers' works, they don't have English version. So it's just how it works. So if they don't have English version, we just remember the Chinese ones. 好，同学们请跟我读雅舍小品。雅舍小品。Next one, 雷声。Thunder. I know that one. 雷声 that means thunder, but it's not the exact translation because they don't have one. 雷声。好，同学们，我再读一遍啊。梁实秋 the famous writer, 梁实秋。Have you noticed all of them? They are male, not female. But I always said it's unfair for the female, no matter what kind of career. I think it's unfair for women. It's not because it's not because we don't have talents. It's because at that time, women are not allowed to do some things like men. But I will to show the respect for the famous female writers in Chinese modern contemporary literature. I will give you one special speech of female writers in Chinese modern and contemporary literature. You can see that their talent is just as good as the male writers. They are good, and some of them they're even better. But it's not now. I will give you maybe at the end of the semester. All the famous female writers in Chinese modern and contemporary literature. But it's not now. Now is still the men's part. OK. 好，同学们请跟我读梁实秋。梁实秋 representative work. 雅舍小 all of them they are prose work. 雅舍小品 because we are talking about prose. 雅舍小品。雅舍小品。Another one 啊，另一个雷声。雷声。雷声。好，我给大家几分钟的时间来记一下，来读一下这些内容。Now I'm gonna give you several minutes to read this page. 同学们，我们继续看啊。Now we move on to 京派散文。京派散文指的是什么呢？京，大家你觉得它指的是什么？哎，很好啊，同学们说的对，北京指的是北京的 capital of China， 指的是北京啊，那个中国的首都。那么这些京派散文，这些作家呢 ，those writers， some of them they were born in Beijing, they are Beijingers. Some of them they were not born in Beijing, but they have been living in Beijing for decades, for maybe more than 30 years, for half of their lives. So those writers, they live in Beijing, they work in Beijing, and they spend the most of time in their life in Beijing. So they, because they consequently saw each other and talk to each other, so they start a community they call 京派, and then they wrote 散文 means prose, and they just wrote some prose, wrote some work, and do some things. So that means 京派 means the writers live in Beijing, and they start a community, and they have quite a special style for writing prose. I will introduce to you later. And so it's called 京派散文. It's quite unique style of prose in Chinese modern contemporary literature. And here is the representative writer 沈从文. 好，同学们请跟我读沈从文。沈从文 I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he was not born in Beijing. I'm pretty sure he was not born in Beijing. Yes, I'm right. She was born in Hunan province, the south part of China, and he is a professor in Peking University, one of the most prestigious universities in China. He was a professor in Peking University, and he worked in Beijing. He lived in Beijing, so for so many years. So he is a representative writer of 京派散文, and his representative work 代表作《湘行散记》。湘行散记 Xiang is another name of Hunan province, because he was born in Hunan, and so he wrote down something about his hometown. 湘行散记 is a prose collection. 湘行散记。好，同学们请跟我读，京派散文。北京 community prose 京派散文 representative writer 沈从文。沈从文。It's a lot of it's also some interest facts about him. I think he's, although he's a famous writer, but he's still a child in his heart. He fell in love with one of his students. It's called 张兆和, and it's also these students from a quite, how to say, she has a good background. She come from a big, famous family, rich family, and Shen Congwen, when he was teaching in Peking University, and the student is one of his students, and he fell in love with his student, the beautiful girl, and he constantly wrote the love letter to her and asked her to dinner and really did a lot of interesting things in front of the other students. So it's really interesting. I think he got several and his supervisor at that time, the HOD of Peking University, the Department of Literature of Department of Chinese Literature, his supervisor, the students, actually the student of her of his which he's fell in love with, she hated him. She hated him in the guts in the first place. So it's not the two-way trains. It's just he loved the students, but the student hated him. And then so he complained about that to the HOD. That means his supervisor, Shen Congwen's supervisor. And then she said to the supervisor, my teacher, my professor, Professor Shen, he wrote me a lot of love letters. He disturbing me at everything. When I just want to learn here. I don't want to be his wife or his girlfriend. And then, you guys, what the supervisor said, what the HOD of the literature department of the Department of Literature, you guys, what he said. It's really interesting. The HOD said, would you please think about it? Think about it. You read his letters and you think about him, please. You can think about this marriage or this relationship. This is really interesting. And the girl students called Zhang Zhaohe, she's quite upset. She didn't think that we should come to that way. And so she, after the encouragement from the HOD, she started to read the love letters from his teacher, from Shen Congwen, and then finally fell in love with him. And then finally they got married. It's a cute story, but yeah, it's quite interesting. So we can see Shen Congwen, this is a person, he's simple, he's with great passion. I think he's this kind of person. Okay, enough for the gossip. But the gossip is the best part, right? It's much more interesting than the representative works, than his art style. So it's okay. Okay, we will do it again. 京派散文，我来再读一遍啊。京派散文。沈从文 the representative writer. 沈从文。representative work 乡行散记。乡行散记。好，we don't have several minutes because this took place of the story. Okay, next one. I'm gonna tell you the art style of the 京派散文, the prose of the Beijing style prose and the multi-literate scholars. They have multi-literate scholars. The leisurely artist character, they prefer the leisurely artist characters. And the traditional culture, they centered on the traditional culture and aesthetic taste in the literary style. It's because they come from Beijing. Some of them they are Beijing, or some of them are not, but they live in Beijing for so many years. So they centered the traditional cultural part of the literature. Beijing is a tradition, I think both traditional and modern. 京派散文, you just understand. I won't lie to you to write all of them. You just understand what the main point. That will be enough. You don't need to remember all of them. 京派散文多文人士大夫气息，显示的艺术风格，文学风格上也多传统的文化和审美趣味。京派散文多重抒情性和艺术趣味。Because they live in Beijing, and most of them they have quite, I don't know how to say, they have quite good they got good salaries because most of the 京派散文, the writers in 京派散文, in the Beijing style prose, they are professors in universities in Beijing, so they got great jobs and they got great money, they got great salaries, so they don't need to work hard for their life, so their works are just leisurely artistic. So and they also, as I just said, they come from Beijing, or they live in Beijing for so many years. So they centered on traditional cultural and aesthetic taste. 京派散文多文人士大夫气息，多闲适的艺术性格。文学风格上也多传统的文化审美趣味，京派散文多重抒情性和艺术趣味。Just know the main point, that will be enough. 京派散文多文人士大夫气息，多闲适的艺术性格，文学风格上也多传统的文化审美趣味。京派散文多重抒情性和艺术趣味。好 ，next one. The new poetry. That means after 1930s, after 1940s, some like that. 好 the first one. 巴金 first famous writer in 新时期以来的散文 New Age 新时期in China, I think New Age literature is quite different. It has different conceptions in different culture in different countries. But in China, that means New Age literature, New Age prose, New Age poetry, New Age novels. That means the literature after 1976. Am I clear? 新时期 means New Age. The literature after New Age means the literature after 1976. 1976. So it's much more near right now. So it's quite near. Almost right. It's not right now, but it's I don't know, it's 30 years ago. It's the literature 30 years ago. And though the first representative writer in New Age prose is 巴金. He's famous for his novels, but he's also good at prose. 巴金，好，同学们请跟我读巴金。巴金 representative work. 随想录 he's also quite famous, so his work got English version, his work got the translations. 随想录 essays from memory. 好，同学们请跟我读新时期以来的散文。新时期以来的散文 representative writer 代表作家巴金。巴金representative work 随想录。随想录。好，下面杨绛 this is the first female writer in the prose, right? This is the first female writer in prose. Actually, when I considered the class, I want to put her in the female writers literature later. But since she's so good at prose part, I put her here. Yang Jiang, he's a female writer. He's a female proser. Yang Jiang. 好，同学们请跟我读杨绛。杨绛。He's not just very good in literature part, very famous literature part. Also, she is a great translator. He also translated so many great works from Western countries, from Western writers. She is a strong, independent. She's a strong, independent woman, and she's so brave. Because her husband is also a famous writer and a famous translator, and they had a daughter, but her daughter got cancer and even died before them. And then several years ago, her husband died, and she's all alone for, I cannot remember, for not several years ago. I think maybe it's 30 years or 40 years ago, and she lost her husband, and then she spent the most lonely and time of her life. She spent, I think, 30 years all by herself, but she still has optimistic attitude of life, and she died. I think she died 2 years ago. She passed away 2 years ago. So she's a great woman that I really admired from my heart. She's not only good at professional area, not just good at translation, not just good at writing. She's also a great woman. She's a loving mother. She's a good wife, and during the last 30 years in her life, she's all by herself, but she's still quite brave and trying to live in this world. So this is a female writer I really admire from my heart. Yang Jiang, she's a female writer. I hope you can remember. Yang Jiang. Okay, so his representative work, 干校六记, she used to go to the countryside to work or something, and then she wrote down something about the life. Wrote something about the life at that time. 干校六记, 6 chapters from my life down under. I don't know if you understand this, because this is the way they translated his work, her work. I don't know if you understand it, but I am not so good. I am not so understand about that. That means he wrote down several chapters about the life she spent in countryside. 干校六记. 好，同学们请跟我读杨绛。杨绛。干校六记 representative work. 干校六记。干校六记。Next one. 汪曾祺 is also a famous writer. This is a male writer. It's a famous writer, but this one is a male. It's a male writer. 汪曾祺。汪曾祺。汪曾祺。汪曾祺 representative work. 逝水。逝水。逝水。好。Now we start the 西部散文 Western prose. The people who live in the western part of China, they also start a community, and all of the writers, they come from the western part, or they live the western part in China for so many years, and then they wrote down a lot of a lot of works about their life in western part of China, about their lives in west part of China. So it's called 西部散文，西部 West part. Representative writer 贾平凹。好，同学们请跟我读西部散文。西部散文。代表作家贾平凹。贾平凹。贾平凹 representative work 代表作商州三路。商州 is a place in western part of China. It's a city in west part of China. 商州三路。商州三路。商州三路。好 ，next one， 下一个。We don't have, sorry, we don't have time to give you to review. We can do it after class. Sorry. I think it's I prepared so much in this class. And there is, after New Age literature, there is a quite unique type of prose. It's called cultural prose. They are written by the professors in universities, by the great linguistic expertise, some of the famous people. But the cultural prose, it's difficult for normal people to understand because all the writers in all the cultural prosers, they are academic intellectuals. They are so professional in their career. So they got a lot of academic knowledge, academic lingos, so normal people cannot understand. Yu Qiuyu, he's the most famous cultural proser. One of the most famous cultural prosers. He is the most famous one. And I just got the news several days ago. He divorced his wife, who is married to him for more than 35 years old, and married a younger and beautiful student. Well, this is how things work, right? Yu Qiuyu. This is Western writers' translation. I don't even know how to pronounce it actually. So you try to understand it. Yu Qiuyu, the most famous cultural proser. Yu Qiuyu, he's also got a good reputation in literature, in cultural prose in the Western countries. Not his private life, of course. 好，同学们，请跟我读余秋雨与文化散文。文化散文 means cultural prose. 余秋雨 It's difficult to understand, but trust me, I finished all of this book. 文化苦旅 I finished it. I finished reading it. It's like you are eating a really, how to say, a really weird taste orange, and when you read it, you're trying to stop throwing up from your throat. But it's good. Cultural prose, it has a great academic knowledge, but I just do not think it is interesting. It's interesting when you read it. But I really finished. I promise. I finished reading this book. and I don't know the English name. So if you can pronounce it or you can understand it, it's the exact translation from the Western country. And I don't understand what that mean. 好，同学们请跟我读余秋雨语文化散文。余秋雨 is a representative writer. 文化散文 cultural prose. 余秋雨语文化散文 and his most famous work. His representative work 文化苦旅 is Chinese version. 文化苦旅文化苦旅 I hate this book and my mother forced me to read it. So I still remember the agony when I was reading it. 文化苦旅 They have English versions. If you have interested in the cultural prose, this is a highly recommended work. You can read it in English. Of course, you read English version. 文化苦旅文化苦旅 Okay, another one. It's already not the cultural prose. It's another type of prose, but I'm not going to tell you because it's difficult to remember. You just remember 王小波 the name. 王小波 famous writer 王小波 and his representative work, The Joy of Thinking. This is a hardcore translation directly to the Chinese ones, directly to the Chinese versions. 思维的乐趣 thinking 思维乐趣 joy the joy of thinking 思维的乐趣。王小波 because they are contemporary writers, include the Yu Qiuyu we just said, who just betrayed his wife, and no, Wang Xiaobo he didn't betray his wife, and because they are contemporary writers, so most of their works they have English versions. So if you want to read them, you can get English versions on the internet. I'm sure. Wang Xiaobo is famous writer's name. Wang Xiaobo and his representative work 代表作《思维的乐趣》。思维的乐趣 The Joy of Thinking 思维的乐趣。史铁生。好，同学们请跟我读史铁生。史铁生 a famous writer who is have a disability, the disability of his legs is he was not born like that. He was born a quite healthy child, but he in his middle age, he unfortunately he got a car accident. He got a car accident and then they broke both of his legs. He cannot walk after that. So so it's really sad. It's really desperate, sad time in his life. And but he got over it. And finally recovered. He still cannot walk, but he finally recovered in spirit part. So he started because he broken his legs in the car accident, and he cannot do the normal work like we did. So he started to writing. He started his writing career, and he did a great job. He did a really great job. So this is the only disability has ability ones. How to say? 残疾人. He's the only disabled writers in all of the writers that I've introduced it to introduced to you. He's the only disabled one, but he has strong mind. So he got over it and he started his writing career and he did a great job. Well, he has to spend his rest of his life. Has to spend rest of his life on a wheelchair, like Stephen Hawking, but it's not that serious. He can move half. He can move up of his body. So it's just I think it's not a really appropriate comparison, but I think it's the way that the suffering, the heartbroken, the sadness, the desperation, I think they suffered the same of them. So 史铁生the famous one is this one. We have to learn it when we were in primary school. 我与地坛 in the Temple of Earth. We have a Temple of Earth in Beijing. 我与地坛 I've been there several times. But he wrote down this 我与地坛 is about the memory long time ago before he broke his legs in the car accident, before his mother died, something like that. And so all his work is just, you can feel the struggling in his heart. Because I think it's different if you're born disabled. That will be another way, because you never feel the freely running, freely walking. You never feel that way. So that will be, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. It's not fine. I don't know how to explain that. But if you can walk, you can run, but suddenly in the middle of because of some accident, and you lose the ability of walking, of running. I think this is really desperate. It's how to say? It's just, I think, can make people want to die. And he trying to kill himself several times when the word is catastrophic. It's catastrophic. He was trying to kill himself several times after he broke his legs. Finally, he got over, and so he wrote plenty of great works. This one is the most famous one, representative work, 我与地坛 in the Temple of Earth, the most famous prose he wrote. 好，同学们，这节课呢我们就上到这儿了。It's already over the time, so I have to cut off the chatty chat, and I hope. 我希望大家的身体都很好。I'm really hope that you are healthy right now, because since I see the numbers, the numbers of the coronavirus, the patients of the coronavirus, the numbers of the patients of coronavirus is skyrocketing right now, and I hope you protect yourself well. Do not go out if only there are some necessity you need to go out. So you just stay at home and protect yourself. I hope all of you have a good health. 好，我们这节课先上到这里，同学们下课。